Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Good afternoon. Good morning. Hi.
Yeah, wherever you are, right? Kind of
Right
depends on where you
on.
are. So, I'm Catherine with Career Launch Live, and I am so excited to be doing another one-on-one with Scott Freda.
Me too.
So stoked. So, we're going to talk about his amazing journey today from starting in sales in his career, running his own businesses, and now the amazing new thing that he's into, which is choice therapy. And we're going to talk about his amazing recovery journey and all of that. It's a really cool, really incredible story. And you and
Thank
I
you.
met because you were a client of mine.
Uh-huh. Right
And then
on.
before that, you were my husband's boss.
Exactly. Right.
So
Yeah.
we have been in each
Small
other's
world.
lives for a long time.
Yeah.
It's
That's
funny. I always tell people you never know how stuff is going to circle back, right?
right. Well, I mean, that's what's so great about just linking with you guys, and you guys are so passionate about behavior and addiction and HR and growth within a company and stability and a lack of people moving on. So I
That's
thought,
right.
well, let's get back together. So
It's
here we
perfect.
are.
It's a
Hmm.
good match. We just keep syncing back up. So let's start with your early working career. We're going to kind of go chronologically here. So how did you get started in business?
I get so many people asking me on my TikTok, where I have about 150,000 followers. Uh, Call centers. My wife was super smart. She was in service related stuff. I was in software sales in my 20s, and then got into call center stuff. And we built call centers and service centers for inbound inquiries, customer service inquiries, and outbound, mostly inbound. And then we developed them with people,
Mhm.
technologies, and then we sold them to
Yeah.
larger call centers in like India and Panama. So lucked out a little bit, but we took advantage of it.
So entrepreneurship started early in your life,
True.
really early.
Hmm.
So let's start with what lessons did you learn about entrepreneurship and what it means to not only grow a business, but to do it ethically?
Well, I can tell you this, that greed is a heck of a thing. And greed doesn't mean you're narcissist, okay? Big
Right.
difference. Okay. So,
Right.
but I think we just develop that, just whatever level of greed somebody might have. And greed can be a good outcome too. It can motivate us, but there, just like anything, there has to be balance. And
Right.
uh, I just, we didn't have a chance at balance. We were making money. We got lucky and we retired in our early 30s, which retirement to us was we just relied on other people to run our businesses. And we went to Florida and we drank and we drank and we drank. And unfortunately, that led to my wife not being here on earth anymore. And I ended up with cirrhosis. And here I am with you. And we're just
And
telling the
nearly passed
journey.
away yourself, right? You nearly passed
Yeah.
away yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had, I just, I mean, just continue to drink when my wife was sick, and it's pretty
Mhm.
disturbing.
Yeah.
Me drinking, really, I wasn't very supportive to her, and I'm okay with sharing that because I know other people deal with this. And so now looking back, I'm here with you, Catherine, to not only help folks from a standpoint of their job existence and but also to help people understand that the way to have job existence and to have longevity is to pay attention to details and be healthy, mind, body, and soul. And so that's what we're doing here.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so I want to talk about that. So you went through this whole experience where you lost your wife, then you nearly lost your own life.
Hmm.
And so now you somehow, they told you you were going to die. You went home to die.
Well,
And
yes, go ahead.
they
I'm
thought,
sorry.
the doctors thought, right? And here you are. So how did you get back on track?
A lot of determination. I wasn't going to be offered a liver transplant because many of you might know that they don't offer that when you've been drinking, and you can go to the hospital and tell them you haven't been drinking. They're going to know if you're drinking. Okay, so they can do blood work and just tell. So just went through that process and was in the hospital in and out for a year, and nothing was clicking. I had cold intolerance, which was from my anemia, which was my worst symptom. And we all talk about the addiction and percentages and what ifs, and some of us go through it. But those that go through it, the symptom details and the it's very challenging. And I just, when my wife died, I remember I just did a video about this on TikTok that my son was just saying, "Dad, I can't lose both parents." So you know, that obviously continued to motivate me. And when I got out of the hospital, I didn't go to hospice because that's where I was going to go die. I decided to go home and give this thing another fight.
Yeah.
And I just landed on eating meat with no salt, a lot of red meat, chocolate, large amounts, 4,000 to 5,000 calories a day of either, you know, Dove chocolate or dark chocolate. It didn't matter. I was eating Kit Kats, and then coffee, large amounts of regular coffee and decaf. And then I was fasting. So that combination somehow pulled me through. And so that's a big part of my choice therapy, which I've been developing over the years, which, you know, I'm certain we'll get to.
Yeah, yeah, we're going to talk about it. Because I think that it's really interesting. So your choice therapy is about more than just diet. It's about your whole life.
True.
And how you live. So let's talk about that. So what patterns did you change in your everyday life, and what benefits are you seeing from that?
Well, like let's just face it, for us people who like to drink, and a lot of us who drink also work, right?
Yeah.
And I getting up in the morning, we have to break that routine, whether we go to AA or whatever system we use. We can stop drinking, but we have to have a life plan. We have to have an integration throughout the day that keeps us busy. That also gets alcohol off our mind. Okay,
Right.
because it's such a struggle to not think about alcohol. With my choice therapy, we develop technique. A lot of it is based in the kitchen. A lot of it is based around food because, like I say, we all have a kitchen. We all eat.
Yep.
And
Yep.
when we're in those moments, we're with our spouse or our significant other or our family. And when we do therapy with choice therapy, we want our family members to see our success. We want them to see us benefit from the therapy and actually be part of it. And with choice therapy, for many people who continue to drink or who are trying to get a balance or cessation, you know, the goal for those people is to minimize the drinking, the episodes of drinking, and when you have a drinking episode, to minimize it within the episode, okay,
Right.
which is key. Obviously, if people are not drinking, we certainly don't recommend you drinking just to work choice therapy. But
Right.
but yeah, so for me to answer the question, it's just math is involved in this as well. And I'm a math guy, and it allows people to look at numbers and understand, which I'll get to in a little bit, how math kind of moves the dial throughout the day, because it helps us pay attention. It helps us leverage statistics, our own statistics, and it gives us something to pursue. And it's a challenge, but it's limitless and it's fun.
And it's a bunch of little choices, right? It's not just this big, huge concept. Because you and I talk every day, and you make little choices along the way every single day to live better, to be happier, to be healthier, and to not fall back into addiction, which is tough, which
Yeah,
is really tough. And
absolutely.
I think it's interesting too. A lot of people don't realize how much alcohol just seeps in. So I recently quit drinking for a completely, not necessarily alcoholism as people think of it, but it just started making me sick, even one drink.
Right.
But what's weird is that when I'm stressed, everything inside of me says to go grab a bottle. And like, that's an addiction that my mind has been taught. When you're stressed, you go get a drink. And so now I'm kind of using, I'm having to make choices and come up with different methods. And I started using food to some of the foods you've recommended and such. And it helps because you just have to reprogram your brain, right? And get it going in the right way. So real quick, let's talk about, just kind of run me through a few of the things that you really emphasize in choice therapy that are not just the food, but just the individual little micro choices throughout the day that are very important.
Yeah. So like I have a therapy called chocolate therapy, carrot therapy, berry therapy. The berry therapy, for example, is for people who have food addiction, they eat too much. So I work with people not just with alcohol. You see a lot of my stuff on TikTok with alcohol, but I'm working with people who have OCD, urges there, obsessive compulsive disorder. I work with people with anger management. I work with people who have food addiction. And the Red Solo Cup allows you to have something in your hand. And many of you that follow me on TikTok can see that. So for example, like with the alcohol, you create pods of different solo cups. So if you have 4 different pods, and each pod has your measurement of alcohol. We do measure alcohol, not to run away from it, but to take control of it. So we put alcohol in whatever we're going to drink, in a solo cup. We put water, tea, coffee, whatever our other beverages are going to be, and we just go around in a rotation. And that pod should last about 30 minutes. Instead of drinking 3 drinks, we're going to drink a pod in 30 minutes. You get the best of both worlds. We use the stimulus, but we also use the other fluids that give us hydration during the process. And it's dynamic, because if you do this at night, you said you're stressed out. A lot of people obviously get stressed out at night. Lots of things happen. We're at home. Maybe we had a bad day. We start drinking at 7, 8, 9 o'clock. And I always tell people to quit drinking at 10 p.m. Well, the benefit is to quit drinking at 10 p.m., give yourself a break. But if you were normally drinking until midnight and you reduced, I think, 2 hours, and you're mostly going to be buzzed or drunk anyway. So when you reduce to 2 hours, where we use math, it helps you understand, okay, Scott says, stop drinking at 10. I used to drink at 12. And when I shave those 2 hours off, when I multiply that times a period of a month and calculate that over a year, I'm going to shave 45 days of alcohol off my body, right?
Yep.
Out of my body. And if I'm drinking at 11:45 and I think, well, if I stop drinking now, what's that 15 minutes get me? Well, that might bit me an extra 4 days off. So now you see I'm getting, so that's the math. That's taking control and analyzing your everyday. And when we do that, we just program to make better decisions. And like you earlier said, I'm kind of the guinea pig, because I've been through all this, and now I have hundreds and thousands of people working my system. And I'm extremely humbled. I'm just to hear you. I really am. I mean, it's really good stuff. So sorry. Did I lose you? I think we broke up on the mic. So I'm still here.
Not just little choices, but kind of a pattern for yourself, and just kind of getting into new flows. But then the other part of it too is that you have to do something that works for you. So like you said, you have different variations of this, right? There's not just one formula, because what works for one isn't going to work for the other.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Yeah. So it's just, you have to I always tell people, know your body, know what you need, that kind of thing. And just kind of work with it. Like you were talking about using the coffee. I could never use coffee because caffeine would put me in the hospital.
Absolutely.
So I can't do it. But there's always a version, right? There's always a way.
Well, exactly, Catherine. And sorry we broke up there before. I had a little bit of an internet connection. But for example, I mean, I'm not afraid to share this. So, I'm an addictive personality. And, I drink a lot of coffee. I try to do the decaf at night. And I use my own choice therapy, not daily anymore, but I use it quite a bit to limit my coffee at night. And I have different disciplines that I utilize to help me come off that. And it's not just me saying, stop drinking coffee, man, you're going too far, or I'm jittery or running around. Okay. That's obviously what what I benefited from that coffee. But in order to have less of those moments, I have to have less of those drinking moments of coffee. And when I have a drinking moment of coffee, kind of like alcohol, we want to drink less during that moment. And that's called 1 plus something. I'm not going to roll that out today. Some of you guys have heard that. We're going to define that more. And I'm going to do individual clips on my 1 plus something. That gets into the little tidbits, kind of, Catherine, that you're talking about. What type of food pairings, and drink pairings, so that you can be healthy metabolically speaking and transition to have control, which leads us to confidence. It's so easy to say, but we've got to develop it.
And I think too, and to your point, the confidence is so key, and that's what addiction does, is it breaks down your confidence too, because then you feel weak. And I'm not saying that people that have addictions are weak, but it makes you feel that way.
Absolutely.
And so
imagine being weak. Imagine being
on top
weak,
of that,
and then,
on top of that,
and then you work through that. Yeah, you're working through the weakness, and then you have to deal with having to feel it. So you deal with it, and then you feel it. Well, there's kind of a similarity there. You're drinking and you're thinking about it. You're not drinking, you're thinking about it. It's 100%. Challenge, so good thing to bring up.
Absolutely. And kind of the last thing I want to kind of hit on today is, so a lot of people that are out there working are thinking, I don't have time to make better choices. I don't have time to do this or that. And you've been there. I mean, you had businesses that you ran at one point, and so the long hours and the stress and all of that. So what are a few, just good, like, just run me through like a few tips that you have for people that are working really hard, a few actionable things that they can do right now to start making better choices with their health.
Well, one thing that I would do is for a couple of weeks is eat standing up and turn your meals into finger foods. Divide
I
them
like
up onto different plates and put them on your counter and just grab at a, even if you use your hands, just grab, wash your hands, wear your mask. Well, I guess you can't wear your mask eating your green beans. But go ahead and, start finger fooding and eating. Okay. And you're
and
going to
moving.
eat. Yes. And you're going to have movement. And after every bite, just go on a walk, go do some laundry, come back at 2-minute intervals. If
Okay.
people start trying this, just if they just think outside the box a little bit, you're just changing course a little bit, and it's going to give you some sturdiness, and you're going to think, wow, this stuff is like what Scott's saying. It's just it's evolving. So if I can just get you to be if you can move more, even during the eating process, then I can get you to do things when you're drinking. I can get you to make change, and it just becomes natural over time.
So let's talk about, so there's one change. So what about when it comes to cutting back alcohol? If you're in a position where you're expected to drink with your clients or you're expected to drink with your coworkers, how do you recommend dialing that back a little bit?
Okay, so if you want to dial that back when you're at a bar and you're having a meeting, we all go to like the Del Frisco's, or if we go to Chili's or whatever, if you're an executive going there, if you're whatever, you go to the bar, people mingle, you're waiting on other people, and you have your drinks. And, obviously do not drink and drive, but if you're going to have drinks at the bar, just eliminate one. Either have your drinks at the bar and then don't have your drinks at dinner. And part of my choice therapy is you're not permitted to drink while you cook and while you eat. And that should stay true, when you're out. So you kind of get the best of both worlds. Because right now everybody's drinking, you're drinking at the bar and then you're eating. That's a simple step. Of course, if you're drinking doubles and you use a lot of ice, I would just stop putting ice in your drink and let your drink get a little bit warmer. And that's just going to be, nobody likes to take that last sip sometimes of that warm drink. So I would also start by not putting ice in any more of your cocktails moving forward. That's a little tip.
Interesting. That's an interesting tip. Okay. So because we kind of went through your wonderful story and kind of where you've ended up. So tell us what using choice therapy has led to in your life in a positive way, and what's new in your life and what's
Well, TikTok is a big part of my life, working with you and helping people, being a mentor. And I've just rediscovered myself. I've kind of almost sound sappy, but fell in love with myself again. Are you there, Catherine? Make sure our internet is still there. And so being nice to myself, being nice to others. And that kind of is what we're also talking about with staffing and employees, and not being mean on the internet. And just going out of your way to break some of that. Because like, if you can learn to people have it in them. Okay. Just be nice. And when the people that are not being nice to you, you can encourage them, but you don't really know them. And so just the best, go ahead. Just being nice is, I'm telling you, is so much. It just relaxes us and it helps us build the bridge to so many things.
So choice therapy helped you learn to just let that part of yourself out.
Absolutely. And it really has to do with lower blood pressure, having sustained health, and being able to not have the anxious moments. And so when I don't have, because I have anxiety, and a lot of us drinkers have anxiety. So the less anxiety I have, the more control I'm in. It just, for one way or another, I just seem to be a nicer person. And that doesn't mean that I was this
that's
big
a good
bad
testimony. Guy. I'm nicer. That's a good, you were always nice. I never remember you being shitty.
Well, when I say that, I mean, when I drank, I was reclusive when I drank a lot. So I didn't have the ability to be nice, but now I'm out on TikTok. I'm with you. People are sponsoring me. I'm mentoring. I work with about 30 people a week, on and off at night, just doing mentoring, especially on the weekends when the drinking patterns
It's definitely put you in a place to give back, which is a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Yeah, and when I'm helping people, they're helping me, because it reminds me of what I need to do to stay strong. So it's just a great thing. And a lot of people that are getting benefits from me, they're helping others. Isn't that awesome?
It is. It's the best feeling in the world. I know exactly what you mean. When I started Career Launch, it was the same kind of thing. It was therapeutic to help other people. So I know exactly what you mean.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for joining
You're
me today,
welcome.
guys. If you want to connect with Scott, it's Scott Freda, Freda on TikTok. You can also find him on LinkedIn. Definitely connect with him, message him. He would love to hear from anybody. And we're going to sign off.
You guys know my new sponsor is Titan Management USA.
That's
and
right.
Catherine right here
That's
is the
right.
owner.
My company. That's right.
Thank you for sponsoring us. We really appreciate it, Catherine.
Thank you. We believe in what you do. Have a good
Thank
one.
you. Likewise. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Mm-hmm.